Moving on to the other major news out of the NFL today, or excuse me, yesterday, it finally happened. It was one of the biggest unkept, unquiet secrets in the NFL. AJ Brown was officially traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are going to get a first-round pick and also get a fifth-round pick in 2027. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick for the New England Patriots, for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, man. This one I think had to happen. I think that AJ Brown was clearly unhappy in Philadelphia. New England needed a number one receiver. Stephon Diggs was for the age that he was at. He was actually pretty good last year. Was over 1,000 yards. Stephon Diggs is not AJ Brown. AJ Brown is a absolute difference maker in the league. Do you like the trade for both teams, or who do you think won, or is there another one that's just, hey, it makes sense, let's do this?
I mean, for sure, for both teams, I mean, you got a disgruntled wide receiver, in my opinion, sometimes diva, that was just not happy with where he was at, and he wanted to get up out of there because he wanted to get more targets. Being in the Eagles, where they have a bunch of pieces that they can go to, and most of the time they're rushing the ball. And if they're not rushing the ball, they're probably even giving it to Saquon on an out route. If not, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert, and then they drafted Lemon now. So once they drafted Lemon, I think the writing was on the wall that they were going to trade A.J. Brown. It's like you can't have all these receivers and a great running back with a game-managing quarterback and believe that A.J. Brown is going to get more than 4 targets. So he wanted more targets, and Josh McDaniels is notorious to give the top receivers some hella targets, like Devontae Adams when he went to the Raiders. He had a 1,500-yard season. He had 16 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns with over 200 catches or something like that. And he started going crazy, and that was with Derek Carr. I mean, now you got Drake May. He's looking like a future superstar quarterback, and I think it's good for the Patriots for sure. Getting a top receiver like A.J. Brown, give him 10 targets a game, which is what he's going to be happy with. But now, if he doesn't ball and the Patriots don't do good, and next thing you know, the Eagles are Super Bowl contending, going up against the LA Rams that we were just talking about in the NFC Championship, and then going into the Super Bowl, where is he going to stand? Is he going to be happy that he's on a team that's now winning, but he's getting a lot of targets? Or he's going to be upset because he's like, damn, my ex-team just went to the Super Bowl and I'm here lollygagging on my couch.
Yeah, no, so there's something I like about this trade for the Eagles, and I love Howie Roseman, how he's always usually, I know it sucks for being a Cowboys fan, but I think Howie Roseman's always seems like he's always one step ahead of everybody. And I like the fact that it was a 2028 first round pick, because that goes to where they could possibly be not doing as well because the trade didn't necessarily work out. So I think that was kind of a smart move to do it as a delayed pick opposed to trying to get the 2027 pick. And what everybody keeps on saying is this 2027 draft is supposed to be remarkable. So I think that was one of the deal breakers in there, that it was never going to happen with the 2027 there. A lot of people keep on ranting and raving about this 2027 draft coming up. But having said that, I think it's a smart move to do it towards the tail end, because that means New England might not, maybe AJ Brown and them aren't getting along as well. And the writing's on the wall and it's not really working out. That might give them a better pick. So I thought that was kind of a smart move in there. Do you go with the narrative that AJ Brown checks out and he's a diva, or not? Because I kind of feel like I could see both sides. I feel like that in Philadelphia, I think that he just wasn't being utilized the way that he can and should have been. They're not necessarily a passing offensive team. At least that's what it was towards the end in last year. And I think that he's the type of guy that you need to get him involved, even if it's check down passes or something. He's one of the best players you have on your team, and yet you're not finding creative ways to get him the ball. So I kind of understand the check out point, but then the other hand too, it's like, be a grown up and just suck it up. You're on a winning team. You were just in the Super Bowl, a year ago or so. Like, this isn't like your team is garbage. You got a good franchise and a good team around you. And him and Jalen Hurts are supposed to be boys. So, what's your thoughts now? Do you think do you go with the narrative that he's a diva, or do you think it's just more I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it's a yes and no answer. I think it's more of
Yeah.
a percentage question, right? I wouldn't say he's 100% a diva. No, I don't think that at all. Now maybe he's 30%, 20%. Yeah, because in my eyes and in my heart, I rather win than anything else. Like I rather like anytime I would play a sport, like I rather be a role player on a winning team than to be the person that they depended on and we're losing. Like I
Yeah.
rather win. That's just the way that I feel, right? He probably wants to win as well, but maybe after already getting a chip with the Eagles, maybe he took a step back from that. And he's like, I want to be utilized more. You got a superstar running back in Saquon Barkley. I understand why the Eagles are running the ball 20 times a game or giving him 5 targets a game because he's such a great running back. And especially with the offensive line he had his first year, which is why he rushed for 2,000 yards. AJ Brown, he took a back seat to that, and he was just like, all right, whatever. He ended up winning a chip because Saquon Barkley was there. No, it wasn't all Saquon Barkley because Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal Super Bowl game, but Saquon, for most of the part of the season, literally carried that team to victories. So, depending on what you want, if you want to be utilized more, you want more targets, then it is what it is, man. More power to you. You know, that's why everybody has free will, and you get what you want, right? America, baby. But
I feel like the answer could definitely be two things.
It's a two-sided sword, double-edged sword.
Yeah, I think it's one of those questions and answers really that both things can be correct. That he can be slightly a diva, but he also could be a difference maker, and you want him on your team. You don't really. It was just more of like the perception. I feel like it was because in the locker room, it didn't sound like I didn't really remember hearing too much reports that he was like a bad teammate. The players seemed like they liked him a lot. The thing is, I think this is a little bit different than when he was in Philadelphia. Is that he has made it very clear ever since he was apparently a kid that he wanted to play for the Patriots. Like that was his dream. This is where he wanted to be. He had like Mike Vrabel jerseys. He's been made it very clear. Like Edelman was his guy. He's been on like their podcasts and he's talked very highly that he's always wanted to be a Patriot. And if you hear him in this press conference, he's like saying that he was out there with the teammates and just looking around and found himself in awe. Like, man, I can't believe I'm here. Like I've wanted this for so long to be here. I'm a Patriot. So maybe the mindset is a little bit different this time, that this is exactly where I want to be. I already got the championships. I got that on my resume already. And I'm exactly where I want to be. So it also helps too that Vrabel is different than Sirianni. Vrabel reminds me more of like an AJ Brown style guy, that he's not going to take any crap and he's going to let AJ Brown know, hey, you're acting like an idiot out there or something like that. Where Sirianni just always kind of seemed like he was standoffish, where Vrabel's more of got that respect. And I don't feel like that Sirianni and him ever really got along. And I feel like Sirianni kind of rubs people the wrong way sometimes for the Eagles. But Vrabel's very much like a Dan Campbell, where they demand respect, and or they probably will close the doors and be like, all right, what do you got to say to me or something, So I think that's good. That type of approach will probably work out a little bit better for an alpha male like AJ Brown seems to be. And he's really not going to have to fight for the alpha male in the room. Devontae Smith is a damn good receiver. It was a great 1A. I mean, they were 1A, 1B, if you even want to call it that. But Devontae, I think, is a damn good receiver that is probably a 1A without a doubt. So I'm be interested to see how he is able to respond after this as well. Having, a bunch of younger players, and Devontae, I think, is going to have a big season this year with the Eagles as well. So again, I think this one could actually work out pretty well for both teams. Like these trades were blockbuster moves without a doubt. But I think that both teams, it was a necessity that they needed to take care of. New England really needed a number one for Drake May, and he has an actual true number one now. And they had New England, let's not forget, they did go to the Super Bowl last year with that offense that they had. So now Drake May has an absolute. Well, I mean, the schedule helped. I mean, let's not go around it.
The schedule helped a lot.
I'm just saying, like, the New England, it did. But Drake May had a pretty damn good season with, I'm going to say, an older Stephon Diggs and a bunch of guys. Now you have a dog in the room in there, and that it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do with that. And I think Drake May is going to flourish. I think he's going to take another step up this season. I expect big things from them too. Just as a side thing here, something like that, what do you think about the AJ Brown Drake May stack in fantasy?
I think it's gonna be good, man. I think Drake May is gonna go. What he's going into his third year. He's gonna be way more comfortable. AJ Brown is gonna get those targets. Like I said, Josh McDaniels loves to give the top receivers their touches. So for sure, he's gonna get those targets. I wouldn't doubt if he's scoring maybe a touchdown every other game or every game. Honestly,
Yeah, well, like I was saying before, what do you think about like fantasy wise? Do you think that'd be an awesome stack or anything like that? The AJ Brown and Drake May stack?
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I do too, man. I can't wait for the fantasy football to start back up, man. Screw the regular season. Let's just get right. Let's just get some fantasy football going.